Hey, welcome to the Tim and Gugabe podcast. This is your host, Tim. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. We have the UFC back for like a couple months now. Gugabe, how are you doing?
Yeah, ticking along. It's pretty good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm pumped for, I don't know, it's like been good to have breaks here and there, but I'm ready for the UFC to be back. And we have it, I think till the end of April. So we got a while, but we can talk about last card. It was not good for the Canadian men at all. They all lost, and like a lot of them were favorites, which is kind of funny. But that was I don't know, Strickland Duplessis. How did you score it? I thought it was as 50-50 as a fight could get. I scored it Strickland, but there was like I thought he had two clean rounds.
Yeah.
Drickus had a clean round, and then there was two rounds where there was one I thought was like a little more Drickus, but it was competitive. I think that was round 2 or round 3. And then there was one round that I thought was like 50-50. So like I think giving 48-47 either guy is the way to go. Did you feel the same way?
Yeah, round 1 and round 5, Strickland. Round 4, Plessis. 2 and 3, I felt were kind of coin flippy. Yeah, I personally scored at Strickland, but again, like it's not a robbery. It's not a robbery. It's a fun fight. And I probably favour Plessis in the rerun, just I feel like the grappling and the cardio and all that kind of stuff. Like, Plessis probably did more to impress me in that fight, but also is kind of a mess. Yeah, it was good. A good fight. I think Strickland probably should have won it, but it's not outrageous.
No. It was like, I mean, it was it kind of reminded me of like in round 5, I was like, this is as 50-50 as it gets. And I kind of like realized Strickland was going to win that round. And I was kind of like, this is really close. And then I remember having very similar feelings on Dillashaw Sandhagen in round 5. And it was like minus 115 on the live line. Like the odds makers are like, yeah, there's a coin flip. So I kind of thought that too.
I
felt like Strickland could have took that fight. All he needed in rounds 2 or 3 was like 30 seconds of output. Like in round 3, it was weird because I felt like Drickus was more aggressive, but he wasn't. Like Strickland was avoiding everything, and then Strickland just wouldn't respond. But I felt like he was capable. But he still outlanded it. Like it was really close. I don't know. Like I felt like Strickland could have took it if he just like was a little more urgent. I think Drickus was just a little more urgent in the right rounds.
Yeah, it reminded me of the Cannonier fight for Strickland, where it was just like the whole time it was like, all right, super close, but it felt like Strickland had more to dig. Well, I feel like Cannonier was kind of operating at 100% of his capabilities, while Strickland.
Yes. Yeah.
But I feel like also Strickland's weird because he obviously has good cardio, but I keep kind of saying this, he doesn't seem to have like, it's not like he doesn't have like a next gear when the other guy's tired. He just kind of keeps doing it. He'll just like, his comfortable pace is like 40 strikes a round, but he doesn't seem to have a thing where he'll go from 40 strikes to 60.
Like how
guys dying in the face.
Like Holloway,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like that's why Strickland's probably not consistent finisher, because he's had a bunch of fights where it's like he started winning and he's taking over, but then he refuses to just go to that next gear. And like Holloway or something will keep Holloway's comfortable cruising pace is good, but then he'll also go to the next gear when he sees the other guy starting to crack on him, whilst Strickland just doesn't seem to have that.
Yeah, he did turn on round 5. I agree with Peter here. But
it was very ugly and sloppy turning on. Like that was just a fuck you kind of turn. Well, it wasn't really a process driven one.
Yeah, I agree with Peter here, but the thing is, like, he didn't turn it on in rounds 2 and 3 when I feel like he could have a little bit, and like, but he did in round 5. But I feel like he, I don't know, like, I felt like, like you said, I think the best way to describe it, I feel like Strickland, like, Drickus gave it everything he had, where I feel like Strickland's like, he gave like 80% of what he had. I feel like he could have like maybe done a little more, but also the power does keep him at, like, Drickus is very dangerous. I think that kind of keeps Strickland at bay, where I don't think Drickus is as worried about the power coming his way, so he can kind of go after him a little more. But great fight. Like I'd cap it really, really competitively again. I think it would be a good fight again. And they'll probably fight again. Pennington, I'm kind of mad I didn't play her because we both kind of liked her. I think you did. I mean, Bueno Silva's just not very good. Like she still did get a couple good submission positions.
3 decent cracks at the sub. Like, I mean, I play Pennington, and I think I think her price was kind of stupid, but also just like I think MBS probably gets positions every so often. And also, like, when I look at MBS home, I'm like, I feel like Holm did kind of get memes, but also I feel like if Holm fights MBS, she probably gets randomly nearly choked like once or twice, and like I don't trust Holm to get out of those positions the way I do Pennington. Like Pennington's not as good as Holm at her game, but Pennington is a lot tougher in jiu-jitsu situations.
Way tougher. Like what? I mean, like you can put her in a really bad spot, and I'm like, she's like a John Fitch, and I'm like, she'll probably get out of it. Where
she'll try.
Holm doesn't know jiu-jitsu if you get her in really bad spots. She's like athletic and big enough to avoid getting grappled dominantly, but like if you happen to get like it's like Miesha Tate. Like Miesha Tate couldn't really get her down. The one time she did, Holm was done, and that's kind of like what I feel like. In like because a lot of people are like, I can't believe we like missed on Holm. MBS, and I'm like, actually, I think like MBS is like worse than I did think, but I also think she would probably like there's a good chance she could sub Holm again.
Yeah, I think in hindsight, minus 300 Holm against MBS is probably about right because like I think Holm's taken a bit of a step back just physically, and I think MBS like ass pulling. Whilst I feel like here like Pennington probably was like minus 300 in hindsight. Because, like,
yeah, I mean, Pennington was a pretty big favorite in hindsight because it's like, is she really going to lose unless she gets finished? And Pennington, let's be real, like, might be the most reliable person to not get finished, like, in the sport. But when you take in, like, talent level, like, because she's not that great of, I mean, she's champion, which is hilarious, but she's not that good of a fighter, Pennington. But even really good fighters usually can't finish her, you know? Like, she's just very, very, very tough.
Yeah, I think Curtis Payne is going to be good fun. Again, like, I've never understood why people sort of hate on her so much because, like, yeah, she's not particularly inspiring, but like, women's bantamweight, yeah, like she's already beaten Catlin, she's already beaten half the division. Yeah, Payne versus Payne be a decent fight, in my opinion.
Yeah. Magny, Mike. We kind of knew Malott was probably a fraud, but it's funny because he should have won that fight. Like, but he. Like in a 5-rounder, I would favor Magny outright. In a 3-rounder, I would probably favor Malott in a rerun, you know, because like he still like did well at times, but that it's just playing minus like 300 to 400s whenever you don't know about their cardio, like what happens if they get taken down, and like it was pretty clear as the fight went, like he wanted nothing to do with Magny on the feet as the fight went, you know, and it was because of like cardio failure, but. That was really, really funny. It was a hilarious collapse. But Malott doesn't seem like a bad guy, but it was I was pretty sure he was overrated. But honestly, he should have probably won that fight. Like, I mean, the fact that he was up big with just like and it was like that whole sequence happened in a minute. It wasn't like he was getting his ass kicked for 5 straight minutes. It was like he got taken down and I think he got like mounted or something and just died. Yep. But I think you hit Magny, right?
Yeah, I had Magny round 3. You don't have to have Magny round 3. Malott's kind of interesting to me because, like, I feel like he actually followed the anti-Magny game plans pretty well here. Like, he did all the things you're supposed to do to Neil Magny. He just fucked it up. Like, if he doesn't get finished here,
he's a front runner. He's a front runner. Like, he didn't like whenever he actually started getting beat up a little bit, like where. Like he basically didn't get touched for like 13 minutes, and he didn't like whenever he wasn't in full control. He's a clear front runner. Like it was obvious to me.
It's also really weird because I'm not really sure where I put Malott in the division now because it's just like, all right, it's welterweight. There's not that many grapplers at welterweight anymore, so it's just like I feel like he could function against like top 30 guys, okay. But also it feels like if he ever gets put into a position where he has to show a dog, he's just probably fucked. Like
yeah, like Nick Dalby. Nick Dalby would be like.
Dalby would be horrible.
Because like that's
fucking horrible for half the division.
Yeah.
Like there are ranked welterweights. I would still probably give Dolby a shot at beating.
They should do Malott Bonfim. It would just be hilarious. Like
that would be funny.
Like I mean, do it. Like they need to do it. That'd be hilarious. Curtis Barrios. I didn't really watch this. I thought it should have been closer to even. It looked like a pretty close fight, but from what I read, it looks like Curtis was probably the rightful winner.
I mean, I'll probably make the money line probably about bang on. Like Curtis, a little bit cleaner. I was surprised that Curtis got 2-3-0 unanimous, just because I feel like the fight was just very choppy. Mab kind of didn't. Mab only really started doing Mab things in round 3. Like first 2 rounds, he kind of was pocket boxing a bit, playing a bit too far on the outside. The round 3, he decides, all right, fuck, I'm going to take it to this man.
Yeah.
Again, with Canada losing so much, it's kind of funny because like it wasn't like Canada even got dominated. They just like Canada lost like 3 very close decisions, and Magny Malott happened. This fight was close enough where Matt it was a legit split, and like Matt could have won that decision kind of thing. And you think at home he should have had like it's crazy how Canada went like 0-4 in contentious decisions at home.
Yeah, the only one who just like lost clean was Lanus, and it's funny because even Gordon like almost got like a finish, and then Sadeh should have won. Jordan should have lost. Like that was I don't even think that should have.
Yeah, Jordan sucks, but Jordan is not good at MMA. We've covered this many times.
Yeah, Katona. I thought Katona won, but it was close. Yeah, it was 50-50. Yeah, but
you expect at home, but like they shouldn't go 0-4 in those fights.
Yeah. No, like if you like re-ran all those fights again, like they're gonna win some for sure.
Yeah.
Evloev and Allen. I watched this kind of on and off. It seemed kind of like 2-1 Evloev, like first 2 rounds Evloev, but it was kind of it was kind of what I expected. Like I thought Evloev has a little higher ceiling because he has that grappling and like he's gonna land takedowns in any fight, right? And where Allen's not going to really do that. And then the striking was competitive. The funny thing is Evloev like hurt him badly, and then Allen had he turned it on a little round 3. That knee sequence was weird, but it was about the fight. Like it was a competitive, good fight. I thought they both looked all right. What did you think?
Yeah, good fight. Allen probably exceeded my expectations a little bit, to be honest. Yeah, good war. I had a tiny bit under it, like plus 170 or plus 270 or some shit, which is a little bit annoying. So it's just like, I figured that Allen would melt down the stretch. He didn't end up doing that. Yeah, again, I didn't regret the under because it was a pretty big war.
Armfield Katona was like really. It was kind of a thing where like Katona won really clean round, and the first 2 rounds were like kind of close, but like you could give them both the Armfield. I was kind of surprised like he got it unanimously, but it was not a lot. Yeah, it was in Canada, and like the rounds were close enough to where I just like kind of thought Katona would get one of those early rounds, but it was a close fight. Like it was very close. Woodson. I thought Woodson won all 3 rounds when I watched it. Like
I had 2-1, but Jordan just I've never particularly liked Jordan. Jordan's a guy I'll play at plus 200 against a lot of people. He's not somebody I'd ever play at juice against fucking anybody. There's so many red flags there.
Yeah,
but
I picked Woodson straight there. I think you did too. Yeah. Like we were kind of like I thought it was probably like a 50-50 fight, but Woodson was just bigger and a better boxer.
Yeah, I picked out Jordan. He just fought in like the least successful way possible. He just didn't he just sort of sat on the outside, occasionally bombed a leg kick, got outworked massively on the outside because he's giving out like 8 inches of reach.
Yeah,
but I had Woodson in the under because I figured that Jordan was only going to actually cover if he finished him pretty much, and like Jordan just didn't try. I expect Jordan to push the pocket a lot more because he kind of had to. But like all he did was just float around the outside, and then he just started fucking wrestling. And I was like, why the fuck is Jordan wrestling from the outside? Like this is not Jordan behavior. But
I kind of felt like this fight I literally almost capped it the same as like Barrial Curtis. I kind of thought they were both maybe like closer to 50-50 fights, and I wasn't really understanding the minus 200s totally, and they ended up being pretty competitive fights, which I kind of like expected that were likely to go to the cards.
I thought the price on this one.
What's up?
I think Mad Price is about bang on. Well, I think Woodson probably minus 200 in the rerun. But also a lot of that was Jordan just did not give himself much of a chance.
Yeah, for sure. I thought Sadeh beat Tavares, but whatever. Like it was, I don't know. Not really have much to say. I was pretty heavy on Robertson. Like she was minus 142 for like over a week. And then I hit her again minus 200. And then I parlayed her up with Jasmine, even when she was like minus 250. I just Robertson's very good if she can get free takedowns because she has some of the best passing stats in the sport, and people don't look at that enough. And it's like when I'm seeing Lucindo pass Viana's guard, like Robertson's one of the best passers in WMMA. Like she has a lot of issues, but if she can get takedowns and she's going against a 43% takedown girl, I'm just like, this is like she should be. I thought she should be about minus 300, and that's like I was just banging that line early, and that's kind of what happened. She always has like physicality things, but I think at 115 it's a better weight class for her. She's just like the physicality. Like at 125 she could get muscled around a bit. Patterson finishing lane S, that was kind of funny.
That was good. I had Patterson sub. I just assumed I think that was like a big overreaction to Patterson's debut. Like sometimes people just get knocked out around. Like I'm not saying Patterson's scared to go off and become a champion or anything like that, but like there was a lot of just like, he got knocked out in round 1. He's gonna get knocked out in round 1 against every fighter in every situation. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. Like you know how that logic goes sometimes.
Yeah, that was
like
just
sometimes
a fight.
You just get caught.
Yeah, I was just really sketched out by both guys in that fight. Like I don't know.
Yeah, but so Linus cannot mix the martials. He's like, UFC fucking 10 kind of bullshit.
I mean, he shouldn't have even beat Darian Weeks. I thought that was a bad decision. Jasmine, I kind of expected that type of fight. She just dominated Cachoeira. Flick and Gordon.
That should have finished about half an hour before it did, but
that was a beating.
Like in round 2, how the fuck did she not finish the last from round 2? Like, because I had like Jasu inside the distance, Jasu round 3, Jasu, and I was fucking just like weeping before the finish because I was just like, holy shit, how is this? Yeah. This is an insane beat. Like that round in round 2, she went for the DAS and she went to mount and she had it like flat for like 15 seconds. And I was like, how the fuck is she still alive?
Yeah. And not only that, just like I thought the ref in the corner should have stopped it. Like I tweeted it out and then like Cachoeira took 4 minutes of another beating, like my favorite thing is whenever like camps and stuff and coaches will be like, well, you don't know the fighter, you don't fight, like you don't know when it's like, dude, you can look at just like odds and know like live lines and know if you should stop a fight. Like if someone's getting their ass beat and they're plus 5,000, it's like, is that 1% chance really worth getting like the 99% chance of more brain trauma? Like I don't know, it's not that hard. Flick and Gordon, that was like hilarious.
That was I saw a lot of I saw a lot of lapping around Flick bets. I'm like, I feel like Flick plus 200 was probably right.
I can't even remember how I feel about it. I just remember I was laughing. Like I couldn't even.
Gordon was just beating him around every so often. Flick would just do something stupid. I'm just like,
I can't even remember what happened in the second round. Did Flick just get a straight takedown and then?
No, Gordon hurts him, and Flick's like on the covering up the thing, and then like.
I can't even
how he got the arm triangle because like
I don't even know
like Gordon was like flowering to finish and then suddenly Flick was on top of an arm triangle. Like, I'm not sure how the fuck he got from point A to point B, but suddenly he was hurt bad.
I was watching it like leisurely, and I was just like, okay, he's getting his ass beat. For some reason, I remember there was a sequence in round 1 where Flick kind of like showed he was still dangerous, and I was like, oh, if he just gets like a position, maybe he could sub. Maybe he's not out of this, and then all of a sudden he just tapped him, and I'm like, all right. I can't remember like everything that happened in that fight though. It was just chaos. But let's go to the card for Saturday. Starting off, Imavov and Dolidze. I think Dolidze is a rightful favorite. Like he's Imavov. Sorry, my bad. I think Imavov is the rightful favorite. What is he like? Minus 150, minus 160.
Yeah. I think that price is fine by me. I think Dolidze is enough of a nonsense doer that I'm just kind of like. I personally am not a huge Imavov. I think Imavov's fine, but I'm not. I know some people think he's a future champion. I just do not think that. I just think the cardio and there's process issues. And I think Dolidze is just one of those guys who just has like he's just a ball of spikes. And like he'll just do crazy shit, and there's always like, Dolidze can just win by anything at any point. So I wouldn't want to get involved. I think it should be a fun fight, but Imavov over 5 rounds, Dolidze is consistently dangerous. I'm happy to pass.
I think Imavov is the rightful favorite. Like he's a better round winner. I tend to be a little higher on Imavov than you in the market, but then whenever he fought Strickland, I was like, this is lines off. He shouldn't be the favorite here, But I think against someone like Dolidze, like I think he's a better striker. I like that he's durable because it's like Dolidze kind of needs to finish him. Dolidze's still a dangerous submission grappler, so maybe he gets it done that way. But I do think Dolidze knocking out Imavov is pretty unlikely just because like Imavov seems very like composed in there.
Yeah. I guess I just think minus 150 is fine.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I don't have much else to say.
And also,
about
just like I look at Imavov and like the Chris Curtis fight is probably the only time I've ever actually seen Imavov and been impressed. Like that he was actually hossing Chris Curtis around, which surprised me. Because look at the rest of his wins; they've all aged horrifically. Joachim Buckley, he needed the miracle to beat him. Evan Shabazian, who cares? Ian Heinisch, like all of his wins have it's been just an issue of the other guy just going from fucking like seen as being a legitimate top 15 to just being fucking out of the UFC essentially.
It's weird because you and I both picked Strickland to beat him. Like, and I remember we were like, he's off the couch, but also like Strickland's always in shape, so he'll probably just be the cardio probably won't be an issue. And then, but the thing is, I kind of thought Imavov looked all right in that fight too. Like, even though he like lost as a favorite, it's funny. I was like, his cardio looked a lot better than it did against Buckley.
I do think this comes back to what I said about Strickland not having a second gear. Like Strickland, a lot of the time, even if you get tired against Strickland, he won't really push on you. He'll just kind of just go, all right, bang, bang, bang. I'm doing my 40 strikes around. You can keep existing in front of me kind of a thing. Like he won't do like a Holloway thing or start working the body and just start really taking the tempo up and kill you. So I think, because like Strickland's had a bunch of fights where over 5 rounds, he's let the other guy just kind of float around doing okay. And like Strickland's absorbed 100 plus strikes from a bunch of guys who don't necessarily have the best cardio historically.
Yeah. I just like it. Like it's just, but don't you think like if this fight goes to cards, Imavov probably beat Dolidze, and it's like
probably,
yeah.
No, I'm not saying Imavov's not favorite. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. The thing is, it's weird because like I remember before the Strickland fight, that's like why I picked Strickland to beat Imavov because I was like, even if it's short notice for Strickland. Imavov was gassing versus Curtis, but then Imavov's cardio looked a lot better versus Strickland. It just did. And I know you're talking about your second gear, but the thing is, the Buckley fight wasn't even fought at a high pace. Like, he just looked better. Like,
the Buckley fight was embarrassing. Like, he was on top of, like, he's fine for, like, 7 minutes. He gets a takedown in round 2. He ends up in the back for, like, the last 2 minutes of round 2 using zero energy. He stands up and he's just like, But that would, and, like, Buckley, obviously Buckley's not a guy you want to deal with while you're tired, but, like, there was no excuse why he was so tired in round 3 in that fight.
Yeah. Dober and Moicano, I want to take the grappling sequences more on this one, but good binary fight, Moicano could still hang on the feet, but like I favor Dober standing, but Moicano's a good back taker, and we've seen Dober struggle with that before. So that could be an issue. I really need to watch the sequences. I remember being really confident Hernandez couldn't hold Dober down, and I played Dober at even versus Hernandez, and Dober was doing that thing where he posts off the head and gets back up, and I just like remember thinking that kind of sequence would happen. But back takers like Moicano are a little different. You can't get away with as much against someone like Hernandez, who's not really a back taking submission threat. But what do you think here?
I mean, I think Moicano having grappling up makes him slight favourite. Like, I'm not rushing to bet either of these sides. I feel like there's more chance Dober looks like a big hindsight favourite. Just I feel like Moicano is just like fragile, and Moicano's always been very much a glass cannon, particularly against powerful boxers. But Dober seems to be aging out of it. I don't know. I'm not super high on either. I think both these guys are good. Yeah, both these guys are dangerous, but I just feel like they're both kind of like Moicano's a glass cannon and Dober's kind of aging out and relied on his chin so much. I think it should be fun. I think it'll definitely be a fun fight, but I have no.
It's a fun fight for sure.
I have no desire to get in. Like, gun to my head, probably feel like Dober has more upside, but also Dober's just kind of been edging out a bit lately, I think.
Yeah, I want to take those grappling sequences. Brown and Salikhov. I think Brown's the rightful favorite. They're fighting because I think this got canceled on fight day or something.
My concern here is that Randy Brown's going to give Muslim Salikhov a perfect Muslim Salikhov fight and just do nothing on the outside. Like, I think Randy Brown has all the skills, has all the martials mixing, and Salikhov has issues, but like, if Randy Brown just decides to give Salikhov like a nothing pace outside kickboxing match, are you shocked?
Does Salikhov go for the legs a lot?
Occasionally, he's not really leggy. He has like those taffy kind of leg kicks. He doesn't really vary into the.
Yeah, he really doesn't.
but my thing here is
he
like,
just rocks up with like really devastating leg kicks. That would be hilarious. Just like,
this is Randy Brown. He does get devastated by leg kicks.
Oh, he gets destroyed by them. Yeah.
I mean, like, I don't think he want to play Salikhov because I'm so concerned about his old. He's old as fuck. He seems to be getting a bit fragile and he gasses pretty hard. So, like, between those three things, I don't want to be in the Salikhov business, but also, I just have this gut feel this is going to be a very shit split decision. Like, both of these guys went to super, super tight decisions with the ghost of Trinaldo, and I don't really see how. I just feel like this is going to be like the rubber match of the Trinaldo trilogy.
Yeah, it's I mean, I get why like Brown with the youth and the size and everything, but he only landed like 60 significant strikes against Wellington Turman, and that fight was like close. You know what I mean? So it's just like if he doesn't pick up the pace, like you said.
I mean, Turman could be.
And Salikhov's dangerous. Like Salikhov can kill you.
My concern is just like if Brown like ends up on top, and also Salikhov's like, how old is Salikhov now? 45 billion years old or something.
He's 40.
Yeah, he turns 40. He turns 40 in June. I mean, Dalby's always sold, but like, yeah, I was very happy to take Dalby plus 170 against Salikhov. Taking Randy Brown at minus 250 just seems like Randy Brown is a guy who only exists like as me. I only bet Randy Brown to plus 150. I'm like, right, what? Randy Brown, like what? How many fights ago he got randomly mean bombed by some fucking by some awful striker? Yeah, 2 fights ago, he got winged by this random Tuesday night contender guy.
Madalena.
Exactly, and like, yeah, Madalena's probably worse than Salikhov. So
everyone hates Madalena so much. Like, it's one of because I've never bet on a Madalena fight, so I have literally zero opinions. Like I just don't care. And everyone, like you, Gugabe, like everyone hates Madalena just so much, and I'm like, he's not like he's fine. Like
he's okay, but so Salikhov.
Like I think Madalena in like pure striking fights is actually pretty fucking good. But like I don't know, he like beat Howland fine, like which is good, but. And the thing is, like, that one fight where, like, yeah, it's like, yeah, he should have been minus 500 against that one grappler. I forget his name or whatever. But, like, people, like, he still, like, rightfully won the fight, in my opinion. I thought he won 2-1. It was competitive. Was the line-off? Yes. But everyone is just real. I feel like people got burned, and they all, like, the Madalena, like, crowd that hates him is really funny. Like, and I'm not saying they're wrong. It's just, like, a hilarious thing. Because you, like, your blood boils when you talk about Madalena.
Anyway, Randy Brown got memed by some shit to pure strikers. So it was just kind of like, why do you want to get involved?
All right. Natalia Silva and Viviane Araujo. Silva should win, I think.
Yeah, I was looking at the under. I don't mind the under at plus 250 because I feel like Araujo's violent enough. And like, I just feel like unless Silva is absolutely fucking her in round 2 and 3, I just don't see how she covers minus 5 billion.
Yeah, I feel like if you play the under, I feel like Viviane Araujo will drop her in the first minute, and then like Silva will just get 3 knockdowns like on a tire.
I have played a lot of Viviane Araujo unders, and they are pretty much all fucking like spectacular. Like, just look at like Viviane Araujo's recent fights. Half the fights are just like GTD, but like the most like remember her versus Lee?
Oh yeah,
Lee
she got
down instantly.
Knocked out. Yeah, like early.
They both 10-8'd. Like, Lee knocked her down instantly, then Araujo gets on top and absolutely fucks her. And the RTD in the Rebus fight as well, and the Araujo's corpse got smacked around. Yeah. It's traumatic. It's ridiculous how she died. Even Araujo versus Chukagian. That should have been it. That should have finished. That was fucking ridiculous.
I was like on Silva a little bit. Like I was pretty impressed with her against Lee. Like, I thought it was a good performance. Like, Lee was a step up, and she showed she could kind of, like, use her game on a striker. And she's good defensively. I think she defends strikes at, like, 60-something%, which is good. And she's a good enough defensive grappler to where, like, she should probably keep it standing here. And she's probably a better striker just defensively than Araujo. So I think she'll like win with that. Better cardio. If Araujo gets a couple takedowns though, and like gets a round or two close, I think it's possible. But Silva is a rifle favorite.
Yeah, so Araujo is just like Ryan Span to me, where it's just like I'll take Araujo plus 200 against a lot of people. It just there's these archetypes in certain divisions where it's like these people are like they can beat anybody. They can't beat anybody consistently, but they just have like Araujo has some legitimately great tools. She also has some massive holes, but like there are things in Araujo's game which she does very well. She leg kicks well. Top game's incredible. Araujo is probably one of the hardest women to beat for the first 7 minutes. But
so I don't strike anyone. That's the problem.
I just can't really see Silva covering unless Araujo just completely melts down the stretch. Like
the only fighter Araujo has ever outstruck numerically is Bernardo, and who we hit as a dog on Araujo's debut. Like that was a long time. That was old school, like 2019. Was Bernardo and Roxanne. You know what I mean? Like so, it's like she doesn't really outland anyone, and that's the problem. I don't see her outlanding Silva. Like she's gonna have to win by holding her down for a couple rounds, and I don't. Silva's takedown defense and physicality seems pretty good, you know. So it's like I don't know.
I think Silva's a high level prospect. Don't get me wrong. I just dislike her style to cover massive prices. Like, Silva minus 150 is fine, but like if you're not going to hit takedowns, I just think there's a limit. There's a certain point where it's like unless you're putting a massive volume up.
Yeah. Let's talk about Khizriev and Muradov. I think this line's wrong. I'm picking Muradov to win. Like Khizriev, like I picked him to beat Teoliulin, whatever the fuck his name is, but he's literally the worst like defensive grappler at middleweight. This guy hasn't beaten anyone. He like ground and pounded a fragile old Paul Harris, and then like he hasn't really beaten anyone. And all their records are terrible. Like it's just like if he turns out to be really good, fine. But like this is a huge step up. Like and Muradov is so much bigger. I think he's got 5 inches of height, and he's a much better athlete. And I wasn't like Teoliulin like kept the fight. He sprawled and brawled at times and was having like success. Muradov is much better, like as a striker and a defensive grappler. And Muradov's physical. He reversed Baralho twice in that fight, and like he actually had more control time in that fight than Baralho had on him. Like, can he be held down at times? Yes. So Khizriev could maybe win this fight, but I'm just like I'm not sold on Khizriev yet. Just like the athleticism, I don't like. I think his takedowns are okay, but he kind of brawls in the pocket. Like I think Muradov is much more athletic, and Muradov could just knock him out too. And like honestly, what if this guy can't wrestle defensively? Like Muradov can take people. Like he out-controlled Baralho. He just got 13 takedowns on Barberena. Like I think the line's like if he has not proven himself, Khizriev, enough to be this line at all. Like if he shows it, fine. But I think there's a possibility Muradov could style on him personally.
Yeah, I agree.
What do you think?
Baralho was essentially the same price, and Baralho was a lot more proven as a grappler and as a striker and as generally as a dangerous person. And Baralho probably needed to Baralho was super touch and go. So Khizriev was having there's a lot of just blind off fetishism going into this price. Like, I agree, Muradov's bottom game's kind of meh, but like,
he's still.
I don't care that much about the Meerschaert fight personally. I just kind of feel he just kind of overpaced, and he went to 50-50 with Baralho, and Baralho to me would be like Mars 300 for this guy. So like.
But Baralho is so much harder. You can't land on Baralho. That's the thing. Like he's so good defensively, and then if you come in too close, he takes you down. Like this guy, you can land on, and like this striking discrepancy might be like comedy here. Like it might be a thing where we're just.
Would you take this guy as a grappler over Baralho?
This guy, no.
Oh yeah, Muradov inside distance last fight was insane. That was like fucking ridiculous beating, and he just kept leaving him off the hook. I remember that.
Because it's like, Muradov has had 4 like pretty decent wins, like you know, and like where he was like clearly the favorites in those fights, and then like the Meerschaert fight, he almost knocked him out like 19 times, and then it was just like an overpace, and Meerschaert's very dangerous as a submission grappler, but I thought Muradov's like submission defense and cardio looked better against Baralho. Like we saw, if he gets taken down, he's not just finished, you know, like it just like against Meerschaert, it was just kind of I really chalked that up to an outlier. And then Baralho is just good. And Muradov, like I thought, won round 2 in that fight. And he reversed Baralho in round 1 too. And was like landing shots. And like Baralho is really tough to just get any offense on. And like, Khizriev has beat Denis Tiuliulin, and he didn't really look that good doing it. Like he struggled getting takedowns at times, and I don't know. And like Muradov might take him down. I don't know that for sure. I haven't seen Khizriev's defensive wrestling a lot, but his cardio doesn't look great. His wrestling looks fine, but I'm not sure. Like he's going to take a guy down in Muradov, who has 77% takedown defense, who's big, physical, athletic. Like Muradov might fuck him up. So I don't know. Are there any props you like?
I think this one I'm happy enough to just take the plus 150 on the money line.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
The big dogs like this, where like they've got potentially minus 1,000 upside, I don't want to try and get too smart for a prop and then just like, he wins by stupid guillotine or some shit. Like, you never know. I feel like these situations just stick to the dog money line.
Yeah.
Like if it's like Demian Maia or something, where it's like, all right, this guy is definitely winning by sub, and there is no equity for anything else. A little bit different, but like Muradov could, if Muradov rocks up and has the advantage, he could win by anything. Khizriev would be an underdog to like several guys Muradov has taken, so 50-50s or styled on. Like, I wouldn't take Khizriev and favourite against Andrew Sanchez. And Muradov kind of absolutely shut the fuck down Andrew Sanchez.
I'm just not sold Khizriev is like a great wrestler, and his striking does not look all that good. Like I have to favor Muradov on the feet. And like I think people forget how like Muradov, people loved him early, like, and he's a freak athlete. Like he can style on people. Baralho is just really difficult to look good against, and the Meerschaert fight was weird. Other than that, Muradov has kind of fucked everyone up, you know. And like I don't know, like it's just I don't know what the line should be because we don't know Khizriev, but I still feel like I saw enough against him in Tiuliulin and one of his other fights where I was kind of like, even if he turns out better than I think, he still might.
This is a big gap.
Because Muradov's pretty good. So yeah.
Muradov's fight, I feel like something like the Muradov Meerschaert just feels like there's massive. So much of the market seems to run off these power ranking logics where it's just like, oh, you got upset this one guy by guy who sucks. For the rest of your career, you are, not untrustworthy. It's like, I honestly think Muradov just cardio dumps. Like Meerschaert was running face first, then Muradov landed enough to knock him out twice over, and GM3 just kept coming on him. Like GM3 could have done the exact same thing to what's his name? Who's the guy fighting next week in the main event? Piper. Like GM3 just has magical powers sometimes.
Muradov's just also in like round 3 in some other fights, he looked really good. So it was like whatever, and I just feel like if this fight is standing on the feet in round 3 and Khizriev can't get takedowns going, I trust Muradov's cardio more in that situation. Like I just do. Like Khizriev was gassing on the regionals, and I don't know. I feel like Muradov is just. I think he's a pretty good fighter, like very much UFC level. And Khizriev looks all right, and I'm not sold yet. And so plus 160, like come on. I will talk. McCann should probably beat Belbita. Are there any other fights you want to talk about?
There's some funny ones. Gorenbo versus Rodriguez was going to be amazing.
Yeah, I need to look into that. Yeah.
Pete Rodriguez, there is no tape because it's just him knocking people out inside a minute. Pete Rodriguez has been in MMA Lab for 3 years, and I'm just kind of like, MMA Lab is one of the few gyms I actually take seriously. And I'm just like, if it turns out Pete Rodriguez has actually been attending classes at MMA Lab, he could be minus $5 billion here.
Yeah, I mean he's beaten Mike Jack. I mean I need to take these guys a little bit. Like
Grimbo sucked. Grimbo was a fucking meme, bro, and it's just like Grimbo is one of those guys where like if you just give me somebody who happens to be in somebody who is like a gym body at AET or at MMA lab or something, somebody who just rocks up to practice consistently, I give them a decent shot of being Grimbo because he's me. Johnson Maxim's gonna be funny. Like Maxim, again, I'm very annoyed. I had Nam plus 300 against Maxim last time. That went to a very controversial decision. But I'm not very high on him. But Johnson will find a way to Bobby Green himself to a decision loss, inevitably.
Stoliarenko and Carolina will be funny.
Yeah, like Stoliarenko have a sub 1-0 or gets very tired, and Carolina.
Are there any other, like, what are some future cards if we want to just kind of like...
Isn't it Pie for next week? Pie for the week after, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think it's Pie Fair. I'm pulling it up now.
Yeah, Manson price is ridiculous. And Topuria.
Topuria Volkanovski is interesting.
Is it?
UFC 300 has some bangers.
Is Volkanovski Topuria very interesting? I personally just can't feel like... I don't know. I feel like Volkanovski rocks up in shape. He just kind of like kicks him a lot.
I'm pretty torn on the fight, and I've kind of been higher on Volkanovski and Topuria than like the rest of the people. Like there are spots I played Topuria. I feel like I don't fully trust Volkanovski's chin against someone who can actually hit hard. I really don't. And like, do I think he's do I think he's an incredible round winner? 100%. So he might just like 49-46 Topuria here, but Topuria is like dangerous in the pocket, and we like, and not just like, and the thing is, he was just knocked dead. Like Volkanovski, like that's not good. You know, he could look declined or he could be chinny, and we've seen even like guys, but he didn't have the cardio to do it. Mendez hurt Volkanovski. Like we've seen Volkanovski hurt, and he hasn't gone up against that many punchers before. And I feel like Topuria can test him in the pocket, and like the line has come in on him. But like I'm not. It's intriguing because I like what's Volkanovski's form going to be? Like getting knocked dead like that, I always am a little cautious about you as like a favorite later. You know, like it's an interesting fight.
To me, I just feel like the Emmett 5 was the first one to make me actually really take Topuria seriously. Just I feel like this showed the cardio. Like his output against Emmett was very impressive. Like every other fight with Topuria, he's kind of slowed down after 6 minutes and looks not incredible. And like Emmett, like he got into a brick slinging contest and he put up like a huge amount of volume. Because like if this was the guy who's coming off the Bryce Mitchell fight or something, I would put Volkanovski pretty happily.
Agreed.
Like, if he can maintain that sort of pace and speed that he did against Emmett, that's what makes it actually interesting to me.
Yeah, I think it's like a competitively lined fight. Like I'm really intrigued to see how that plays out and like how Volk's gonna look, especially because like I love Volk, but I don't like when you get knocked dead and you haven't gone against a lot of power punchers, and now you're going like Topuria hits fucking hard. I don't care what anyone says, he just does. And like no, he did kind of slow down, so like there
but not as much
a little bit. But he still like put up a lot of offense. Like, and it wasn't just like volume. Like he was bombs. Like putting everything.
He slowed. He slowed down. But like considering how hard he was pushing it, like that was he's always going to slow. But the fact that he managed to maintain that level of power and ferociousness for 25 minutes without having a heart attack is like. That was my concern for Topuria before that fight was all right. He's got 7 minutes of fucking hell in him, and then he sort of falls off a cliff. Well, it's like against Emmett, he fell down a bit, but he didn't go off a cliff.
I'll put it this way: like every fight Volkanovski's had at 145, like since he's been champion, I've kind of like picked him, being like he should win this fight. Where this one, I'm like, this is intriguing. Like I actually. You know, like on all those other fights, like if Yair lands a fucking like head kick, whatever, but like or Ortega gets a guillotine, it's like he should be winning those fights. Or this one, I'm like, I don't really know how it's gonna go. Like I don't like, and I do think Topuria does some things that can give him issues. Like I'm really intrigued by the matchup.
I mean, I agree, but I feel like the things that I'm considering for Topuria are more just like absolute explosiveness kind of like considerations, and not really like if you were to equalize our athleticism between Topuria and Volkanovski, again, like this is a bit in the certain tag, but I just don't think Topuria has much for him. But like I just feel like Topuria in this one just like he could just explode his ass. I'm not that high on Topuria as an actual like long-term champion, skilled ability guy. I don't really see that, but like I can see how he has a high floor.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's everything. We'll be back next week for, I think you said it was Hermanson, right?
Yeah, should be fun.
And Dolidze, but that's everything. Thanks everyone for listening. I'm glad the UFC's back. We'll be doing these consistently. So cool. See you guys.
Catch it.